about just introduce yourselves, and then I'll open up the floor to questions.
How y'all doing? My name is Lecrae.
Lecrae's in the house,
My name is Ruslan. I play in a band called Everfound.
My name is John. I play with this guy.
My name is Nikita. I'm with Everfound.
My name is Colton Dixon. I'm not with
So it turns out we've got Colton Dixon, we've got Everfound, and we've got Lecrae. And so if you'd like to ask them a question about songwriting, ministry, whatever you want to ask them, you know, we're doing what we do, raise your hand, I'll call on you. Right here, young lady, you're going to be our first participant in today's Q&A. Who's your question for? For all of them, what's your question? What advice would you give? What's the number one piece of advice, one or two, you'd give for an upcoming band or artist? And that's for anyone and everyone. Who's got it?
Oh, jeez. Write until you can't write anymore. You could be coming off of American Idol and have millions of people watching you, but if you don't have okay songs, you're not going to go anywhere. So it doesn't matter how much exposure you can have. It's all about the songs. So write as much as you possibly can until you just don't want to write anymore, and then keep writing.
The great thing about writing your own songs is that it gives voice to what God's doing in your life, you know what I mean? I mean, it gives you an opportunity to say what God's doing in your life. It becomes more real to you, more real to your audience. That's a good thing. Anybody got something else?
Yeah, I'd just say study the scripture as you write, add to the light, and don't add to the light, be in the light, reflect the light, don't add to the darkness.
I'd say write music that you're passionate about and what you love. You know, in every industry, people are going to tell you what they want you to do, but I'll just encourage you. Who is it? Encourage you
right here
to follow your heart and, you know, write the music that you're passionate about.
All right. There seems to be a good way, like one of the good ways is to audition for American Idol.
Audition for American Idol it is.
I think they all forgot the most important element of it is you need to finish second grade so you know how to write.
Yeah, very, very important. So I think what Lecrae is trying to say is stay in school, people. Okay, stay in school. All right. Okay, I got a question over here. How you doing, buddy? Who's your question for? Do we ever? Hey, do any of you guys ever get nervous? Do you get nervous? Lecrae, do you still get nervous?
I mean, you know.
So you're saying yes? You're saying
of course.
Okay. Colton, do you get nervous still? You get nervous?
He says yes.
Colton gets nervous.
I said yes.
Hey, Everfound, remember that night you were right in the middle of your big closing song and everything went down and nothing was happening and it was just basically drums and vocals? Remember that night?
Yeah, we were very nervous last night.
Oh yeah, that was last night. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Sometimes you get nervous. Hey, but by the way, you know what the antidote for being nervous is? Preparation. Be prepared. The more prepared you are, the less nervous you become. You have another question? Who's your question for? Any of them? What's your question? What got you into music? What really spawned your love for music?
For me, I was a latchkey kid, so I grew up in a single-parent house for a while, and then my mother worked all the time, so I was at home by myself quite a bit, and just, you know, sitting at home, being imaginative and being creative and listening to music all the time. And then my mother would, you know, clean up every morning and play music. So it was just a really musical house where I grew up, and we listened to everything, all the Motown greatest and on down the line until it was just a part of my life.
For me and for Everfound, we're all brothers, so we all grew up in one household, and music was just kind of always part of the house. My grandmother taught us all classical piano. My mom made us all start taking piano lessons when we turned 7 years old. And so music was just kind of always part of the DNA in our household, and it still is.
So, I was actually leading worship before American Idol. I go to church with this handsome-looking fellow in front of you, Wesley.
He's obviously talking about me. Yeah, we go to church together. We go to church together.
We do, and man, I loved it. I our youth group is so fired up. Really enjoyed leading them in worship every night, every Wednesday night. But for those who watch Idol, you pretty much know my story of how this came to be. Beyond blessed to be here. Just like probably a lot of you guys, I've been coming to Winterjam for a long time. So to be on the stage is kind of mind-blowing this year, and man, just been having fun with it, so yeah.
By the way, you do an extraordinary job. I can't wait for these people to experience Colton Dixon in concert. It's going to be fun. Awesome. Okay, so, this young lady, Colton, would like to know, are you going to ever go on tour with Spencer Lloyd?
Spencer Lloyd, yeah. Funny you ask. Spencer's actually come out on the road this tour a couple times, off and on, but for those of you who have no idea who Spencer Lloyd is, he was on American Idol this season. Got cut right before the top 12 or 13. But he is a believer and on fire for the Lord as well. So I don't know. I'm really excited to at least write with Spencer. Who asked this, by the way? You did. Awesome. Yeah, excited to at least write with them, and I hope that turns into something more. So there you go.
At what age did you all start doing what you're doing in music? What age?
I started taking piano when I was 8, started singing when I was 13, so I was fairly young.
I started playing piano when I was about 7 or 8 too. Day one, straight out of the womb.
About 7, I started playing piano.
Started rapping on the block about 11.
And we have videos to prove it, which we'll be sharing with you tonight. Lecrae is gracious, he shares his videos with us, all right? How about right here? Let me get a question to this man right here, all right? Hey, Lecrae, who's your, if you had to list your top musical inspirations, could you do it? I know you talked about all the musical influences.
Yeah, I would say, you know, for what I do currently, it's a group called Cross Movement that was very influential in what I do. But I'm a big soul person, so I go way back to, like, you know, Stevie Wonder, you know, all the way back, you know, to the Temptations and Eddie Kendricks and the whole nine. So I'm a soul dude. Yeah.
Okay, I got time for one last question. It comes from this sweet young lady right here who's had her hand back she's had her hand up in the back the entire time, okay? She would like to know what really sparked your fire for God. When was it that the lights clicked on and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to serve Jesus the rest of my life? What was it? Everybody.
For me, I grew up feeling real insecure. I wasn't the best at anything. I, you know, had some family issues, and so I really struggled just trying to find security. And in looking for security, I was just, you know, doing anything and anything that would give me a sense of identity. And ultimately, what happened was I was invited to come to a conference, and I came to the conference with some friends, and the sermon that I heard, the pastor, his name is James White, he preached a sermon, and he preached about Jesus, and he you know, preached out the text, and Paul wrote, "Do you not know you've been bought with a price?" And all my insecurity kind of melted at the reality that as purposeless and worthless as I thought I was, Jesus saw fit to die on my behalf and to give me significance and to give me worth. And it was like the scales just fell off my eyes at 19, and I surrendered my life to Jesus.
How about for you guys in Everfound? When was it that the spark went off?
For me, it was when I was about 12 years old. Grew up in a Christian home and grew up hearing stories about the Bible and going to church and hearing stories about all these like great heroes of faith and all these things. And my parents always talked about being close to God, and all these things were like, just kind of grew up hearing about it, but it never was real to me. Like I was like, going to church, going through the motions, it was just kind of like I just grew up in that. But I think when I turned about 12 years old, went to a church service, and the guy was actually preaching on hell, and it was a pretty old school, like fire and brimstone type of thing. But it definitely, it just hit home for me, and I just realized that I need Jesus. And from that point on, it's just been like a personal relationship for me.
Yeah, I found Jesus, kind of same story, you know, we're all from one family, but I was at church camp
And I was also 12. It's a magic age.
Yeah, I'd say I was like my brother's 11 or 12. I don't know, maybe my parents were putting something in our food, I don't know. But I just realized that if there is a creator, I wanted to know him personally. If he created me in his image and I'm a reflection of his image, and if he truly came to earth and died for me, I want to know him. And I feel like that's when 12, 13 maybe is when my search began for my own self, not going to church because my parents made me or anything like that, but it really hit home when I discovered Romans 8. And if you haven't read that, check it out. It's one of the most amazing parts of Scripture.
Man, like the Everfound guys, I grew up in a Christian home, and I went to a Christian elementary school, and when I was 7, you beat me by a year in piano lessons, so I'll beat you by a couple and getting saved. Priorities. Anyway, so I was 7 and I was in Spanish class. Apparently I went to a really prestigious elementary school. You taking Spanish at 7, but whatever. She was giving us Spanish faith-based words to share with Spanish-speaking friends, which I had none, but whatever. Again, besides the point. But I just remember thinking, why in the world would I share about Jesus if it's not something that I'm connected with yet, if he's not someone that I truly know yet? So that was really, I think, the straw that broke the camel's back for me, and digging deeper and deeper and deeper until I found out that, man, I really do need Jesus. And yeah, that was really just the start of my journey.
So there we go. Hey, listen, you're going to hear more from these artists tonight. They're going to all just absolutely blow you away. So would you give a warm shout out of gratitude to my man Lecrae, Everfound, and Colton Dixon, everybody. Guys, thank you so much. We appreciate you so much. You know, we're going to open the doors and let all of your uncivilized friends in. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. That's a joke. Wear a helmet. Anyway.